together so they can try things. You're invited to this podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
Hello and welcome to Now Try This. It is your boys, Nick and Marcus here, and ready to talk about some good ass content. Hey Nick, how you
Which
doing?
one are you?
I'm Marcus.
Oh, I'm Nick. Nice.
Nice.
Crushing the podcast.
Nick, tell them what the podcast is about.
I feel like you always set me up to fail because I feel like you just did it and then I'm about to say it again. And you'll be like, Nick, you said
I
it
didn't
again.
say what the podcast was about. I introduced us. I said, hey, it's Nick and Marcus, and now you got to tell us what we do here. What are
Hey
we
guys,
doing
we're
here
Nick
today?
and Marcus.
No, not that part, Nick.
Wait,
Skip
what?
over that part and go straight to the
Guys,
part
Now
where we
Try
talk
This
about
is
what
the
it
podcast
is.
where two best friends talk about stuff that they love. Well, how does that format work, you ask? I'll tell you. One of us challenges the other one to watch something that we love that the other one has never experienced. For example, last two weeks ago, I gave Marcus the movie Scare Me by
Mhm.
Josh Rubin, and he had feelings about it. Go check out that episode.
I did have feelings.
And Marcus, last week was something weird because we did a fan challenge.
Yes,
Tell me
we
what that is.
did. We did the fan challenge, Deadly Lessons, aka The Legend of Simon Conjurer, which is a very bad Conjurer, which is a very bad movie in the vein of the O'Brien films and Tommy Wiseau films. That's definitely worth checking out. And
But how did we do a fan challenge? Where did that come from?
oh my God, Nick, it's so weird that you've been on this podcast for so long. You don't know the answer to any of these things. Well,
I'm
I'll
not good at
tell
this
you.
show.
I'll tell you and I'll tell the fans. You can head over to our Patreon and send us suggestions. We have two tiers, the $5 tiers, where you can send us suggestions every month for us to try, and the $1 tier, where you get to vote on which selection we do for the podcast. That's it.
You almost crushed it. All you forgot to tell them is what the Patreon is. It's patreon.com/nowtrythiscast.
Yes, we
Go
have
there.
a link. Guys, if you go into our Twitch page, we have links. If you go on any of our social media pages, we have links to everything. If you're not following us everywhere, you're not a true fan. That's what I'm saying.
And Now Try This Cast. And if you're having trouble, we made it easy. Nowtrythiscast.com. All of it's right there.
Yep,
Boom,
there you go.
baby.
Boom, boom, boom.
And then also, we love 5-star reviews on iTunes. I feel like you saw me typing the five.
I did.
forget
I
that
see you. I see you
went to-
typing because I guess you didn't load it up. But that's fine. While you're looking
did
it
it,
up,
but-
you know what?
but-
I
But
was
you
gonna
could
say-
leave us a great review like sleepybaby.org did, saying such a great pair. Love you guys. You have amazing chemistry and should date. You know what, sleepingbaby.org? We thought about it. We considered it. Marcus only wanted me for my body. It didn't work.
That's true.
What
I
are
was
you
gonna
gonna do?
say my thing was I was gonna say we're both tops. You know what I mean? Doesn't work.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
That's probably really true. That's why we could never date.
That's the only
We're
reason,
both top.
really.
Honestly, probably. I'd be gay for a man like you. You're so pretty.
You too.
Guys,
I love
it
the
was on
hair.
record. You heard it. It's entrapment right here. I just honeypotted Marcus.
Oh no!
Marcus, what you know what? I was thinking this past week
What were you
about
thinking?
one of our episodes that I wish we could do it all over again. You know what I was thinking of?
What were you thinking about?
The Now You See Me episode of the podcast. What a wild movie that was.
Why were you thinking about that?
Because I watched the interview with the main guy. What's
I
his name?
hated that movie so
Lex Luthor?
much.
Jesse
God
Eisenberg.
damn it. That movie was so bad.
He was talking about the movie with like a lot of reverence and like professionality about being an actor.
Oh, no.
And about Daniel Radcliffe in the sequel, and I was like, "Oh wow, you took that movie real serious. You were one of the only people who did."
It's really
Loved it.
funny when you see actors take their jobs way too seriously. Like, acting is hard, and a lot of movies deserve the credit and the challenge that they present to actors, but not Now You See Me. You
Marcus,
know
what
I
are we
mean?
doing this week?
This week, we are doing the comic book adaptation, Invincible, on Amazon Prime. It's an animated series. I gave you the first 3 episodes. And
I'm
this is
laughing
not a
because of the
sponsored
emphasis
episode.
You put on Amazon
This is not a sponsored episode.
Prime.
It's not a sponsored episode, but Amazon Prime does own Twitch, and we are streaming on their platform. So the Amazon
shit.
gods, if you hear us, we like your show. It's good. I like
I did
your
not
show.
say
It's
whether
good.
or not I liked it yet. Marcus, before we get started, tell me what's going on in your life. Have you tried anything new?
Oh man, this week I have. Remember when I was saying that I was like, oh, I am at maximum efficiency, and I feel like I have just exploded mentally, you know?
Yeah, you said it
I
wasn't working.
took a break and it crashed me. I like a computer overworking itself. I crashed and I had like
Yeah.
a good while of just resting, relaxing, and recharging. And now I'm back on the grind, waking up, running, working out, doing my thing. It's good. It's good. And I also have been recently getting back into my video game hobby. I feel like I have abandoned it, you know, but
Mhm.
I've been doing some more video game hunting recently, kind of keeping my eye out for stuff. It's been nice. Went to a retro game store. It's cool. What
You
about
are
you?
so cool. Before that, I just want to say hello to everyone in the chat. We got an E-Evaluation, Second Roadie, Rian414, Mr. Hall, Fetty77. It's lively in the chat.
Nice,
Guys, if you want to
nice.
join the chat live during these conversations we have every week, every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/nowtrythiscast.
Yeah,
Now,
thank you guys, chat. Oh, hold on.
well, I
They
realized they all
asked what
said
I'm
hello,
playing.
and
Yeah, they all
we
did
didn't
say
say
hello.
anything.
Hi
We didn't say
guys, we
anything
love
to us
you.
all.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, we love you all. Special shout out to all of you.
They asked
My
what
personal
I'm playing.
favorite. What?
They
What'd
asked
you
what
say?
I'm playing. What?
That-
But what's your personal
Fine.
favorite?
Let's not get to what I'm doing. Tell us more about yourself.
What's your
Marcus.
personal favorite? Who in the chat is your personal favorite? Because then the rest of them are gonna
No,
leave.
you interrupted me. I want to know. They'll never find out. The chat will fight about who they think I love the most, as you
That's
were telling
fair.
us what games you're playing right now.
Yeah. Right now I'm playing Persona 5 Royale, which is an enhanced
that
version
sounds
of
fun.
Persona 5. It's an RPG with lots of dungeon exploration where you get to, as a high schooler, romance a bunch of people that you shouldn't be legally allowed to romance.
How do you always find a way to make a super popular, like not indie game sound like some weird harem video game on Steam that you
It
shouldn't be
is a
playing?
harem game. You can romance everybody except for the guys, because no gay stuff in Japanese anime, apparently.
Anyway, what was your question to me? I forgot.
What did you try this week?
Oh my god, I tried something amazing called quitting your job.
Woo! You did it?
I quit my job.
Nice.
Guys, I got a new gig. It's professionally podcasting, so make sure to go to patreon.com/ No, I quit my job at the restaurant I was working at because restaurant work has been awful during this block
Mhm.
party. It's been really tough, but I found a new gig, Marcus. I'm gonna hopefully have many great stories about it, but I will be teaching chess to kids aged
That's
3 to
awesome.
7. Guys, if you have a child that you want me to teach them chess, go ahead and reach out at us nowtrythiscast.com and I will teach your children chess.
Is it virtual?
Yeah, it's
Nice.
virtual and in person in New York City.
Oh,
And it's all
cool.
through storytelling.
You
So
should
you get to
tell the-
learn about the king and how he eats too much and he gets all big and fat and that's why he can only move one space at a time, you know?
That's kind of cool.
It's like, yeah, to like
I
a
like that.
3-year-old.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun. It's
No,
gonna be
it's
really great.
cool. I mean,
Honestly, I'll probably be coming to you and be like, Marcus, can you play chess with me? Because I've been learning strategy, and yes, it's for the 6-year-olds, but like if the 6-year-old can beat me, that might be a problem in my lesson.
but no, it'll be cool. It'll help them like
gonna be fun.
understand. That's how Queen's Gambit. Shout out to Queen's Gambit episode. That's how that whole thing started. Oh no, Nick's left the podcast. He's quitting the podcast. That was the job he was talking about. Oh no! Oh no!
I got all my books here.
Nice.
I got Bobby,
oh,
Fischer teaches chess to read. I got Modern Chess
Wow.
Openings by Nick DeFermian.
That's amazing.
I got this. I don't know. It looks really fucking complicated. I might have.
You're gonna be better than me at chess in like a day.
That's my goal. I mean, honestly, that's my touchstone. I think while I'm learning all these chess things, because I've always played chess. We like playing games,
Yeah.
but I've never ever thought about strategy because I've never had anyone to need to. I've never
Yeah.
had anyone to teach me. But now that I'm learning, that's my only touchstone in my head. I was like, if I could play enough to play against Marcus, then I can teach these kids how to play chess. Because you're amazing.
Wow, Matthew's calling. My brother's calling me out in the chat. Marcus only knows 4-move checkmate. Hey, I know other.
That sounds
moves.
bitter. That sounds super bitter
No.
on Matthew's part.
I mean, it does sound bitter, Matthew. You know I'm the superior chess player. Fucking come at me, bro. Let's go.
There's
Let's
two
play some
Bodegas
chess.
boys, and one of them is better at chess.
Yeah, let's go. Who has more trophies? Huh? Let's get wrecked. No,
Oh.
Matthew's 100% right. I only know the 4-move checkmate. I don't know any other moves at all in chess. I just I play the game and I know the game, but yeah, I only know the one move. I don't know what anything else
it's
is
like
called.
a tactic, like tactics and strategies. You mean like
Yeah.
it's only one, you know? Oh,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Matthew
You
said he
haven't-
hasn't lost a game. I haven't lost a game in years either because I haven't played a game in years.
Oh, you got
Correct.
told. Guys, if you want to have a Now Try This chess tournament, let us know. Join the Patreon and give us your suggestions. That
Let's
sounds
do it.
great.
Let's do it.
Marcus.
Chess is very popular on Twitch, by the way. Get in there.
Guys, if you want to watch me get better day by day on chess on this Twitch, let us know. We need content, and if that's what you want, let us know. Marcus.
Okay. Yeah, what's up?
Why did you give me the Robert Kirkman's book inspired superhero critique satire animated show prime original Invincible?
Wow, that was perfect.
It
Applause
was
in the
perfect.
chat, guys.
Thank you so much.
Applause in the chat.
Thank you.
I
I told you I quit my job. I'm a professional podcaster now.
So basically, Nick, you through a roundabout way, you are the reason that I fell in love with Invincible. And I'll explain that.
The fact that this story is happening. I was ready to tell it myself. I think Marcus owes me so much in his life. He never gives me credit because he thinks I have too big of a head, and it might be true.
Yeah.
I might not need to be told.
This is proving.
Here I am for it. Here I am.
This
for
is
it. Tell
proving
me.
that you do have too
Praise
big of a
me.
head.
I need to be praised.
This is
I just
why
quit
you
my
can't
job.
be praised. Whenever you praise you, you're like, yes, finally, I deserved it this whole time.
Well, maybe if it happened more often, I wouldn't react like that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Think about that. No, please
may
tell
be
me.
right.
Sorry.
So in college, we both like comic books and we shared mutual like nerdy things. But
Sing
in
the
college,
college song.
what college song?
The college song. Sing the college song.
Oh, Fredonia, the school we both went to.
Da 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 da.
Oh, Fredonia, the things that we could do.
Da 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 da.
Like
Perfect,
go
thanks.
to comic book. It's gonna go on
Oh, second
forever.
verse.
Oh, we lost 8 people in the chat. I was making it up on the spot. Thank you so much. Okay, well, Nick, I don't know if you see this. Hold on. I was in the
Ooh.
middle of telling a story. There's the camera. Look at that big boy. Look at that thick boy. I love Invincible. But let me explain the origin story of my love of Invincible. Nick and I were friends in college. Long time ago, we were little babies. We didn't know anything about anything. But Nick gave me a flash drive of
I
not
found them.
illegally download.
I found them on a I found them.
He gave me a flash drive of comic books, and on that flash drive were like 5 issues of The Walking Dead. There's a handful of issues of The Walking Dead.
No, it was like the first 40. It was like a lot.
Oh,
It
what?
was the first couple volumes.
Because I remember I bought volume 9. I bought issue 9, and then I started from there, reading it physically. So, because I have the whole thing from issue 9 on.
No, they were
But
farther.
yeah.
It was.
But
It was,
it
farther.
was
You
like,
went back
yeah.
and got that.
That's
Anyway.
what I'm saying. So, anyway, it was the first few issues because I mean, Walking Dead went on to be like a very long running comic book, but it also wasn't out for that long, so I don't know if it was, but it was definitely like maybe 20 something. It got up to
Something
the
like that.
prison arc, I think, with the
That sounds ish.
that's
That
about
sounds
where
ish.
it ended. Anyway, so you gave me a flash drive. I read that and I just ate up all of The Walking Dead, and it was funny because I started talking to you about it. And I was like, "Oh man, thanks so much." I just as soon as I put it in, I started reading Walking Dead. I didn't stop. And you're like, I was like, "Oh, I read The Walking Dead. Have you read it?" And you're like, yeah, I read like the first 2 issues."
I didn't get into it yet. I hadn't
You
gotten
didn't
into
get to it yet.
The flash drive had a lot of comics.
It did have a lot of comics, but it's so funny because I was like, "Oh man, I was so excited to talk to you about it." And it happened to be one of the ones you didn't start really
Yeah.
reading it. Then
But you did make me start it, and I started right away.
Then he started right away. We got into
Devoured
it
it.
together. And I mean, Walking Dead is one of my favorite comic books of all time. But like I said, I went back, I bought most of the issues. I love it. I started
How many holes in
collecting
your
it
collection
weekly.
do you have now? Just like 10 issues.
The
at
first
beginning,
like
or-
8 issues, basically. I've gotten reprints of them, but they don't have like
No, you got to spend a couple.
any.
$100.
They're not the same
Yeah.
first print, so it's not the same. So I fell in love with Robert Kirkman, and then I was like, okay, what else has he written? And I started finding out about Invincible. And at the time, Invincible, I don't think was like, it definitely wasn't completed, but it was pretty early on. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly how many issues were out, but not that many were out at the time. I started looking into it, and then I read it, and I also immediately just fell in love with it. There's so many things about the comic book that I just love. I feel like I've been a huge superhero fan of comic books and reading them for a long time. And sometimes you just get bored with them. I've kind of stopped. I fell off of Marvel and DC for the most part. Like I'll watch the movies
Same.
because I have a lot of nostalgia for them, but I don't really give a shit about what's happening in the comic books anymore. And Invincible did something that was different. Robert Kirkman is a great writer and an obvious fan of the comic book genre. And he wasn't someone like, there's a lot of comic books like The Boys and things like that of people who like, you can tell they hate superheroes and they're
Mm.
satirizing it.
great-
They're satirizing it in a way that feels like a fuck you
And all
superheroes
those
are dumb and you're dumb for liking superheroes.
all
Right?
those like the Wildstorm universe and like
Yeah.
Genesis and like Utopia and like
Yeah.
what are those other ones called? The Supreme, all those other, all the other
Yes.
ones, all
They're
the
all
other takes on the Marvel and DC things are
uh-huh.
always satired in a way where that's what a great point.
Yeah. And then Invincible came along and Robert Kirkman wanted to subvert the genre of comic books and superheroes, but also pay homage to them and to the history that's been there for so long. And it's also interesting because this is an Image comic book, which is not Marvel or DC, which is the company that everyone knows. Image actually started from a bunch of people who used to work at Marvel and DC. They were upset because a lot of the artists and writers would create new superheroes and new content for Marvel and DC. And Marvel and DC be like, you don't own those at all. We don't give a shit about them. We don't give a fuck about you and what you make. So then they were like, fuck you. Like, we want to start our own business where the creators own the characters they make.
Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Robert
Mhm.
Liefeld, that whole crew.
Yes, a whole group of people, mass exodus. They left and started Image Comics. You know, it had a rough start. There was a lot of good stuff going on. And Invincible is one of the good things to come out of Image Comics. So is The Walking Dead.
Mm.
And so
Really?
I read it. I fell in love with it. Started buying the issues, collecting it. It's one of my favorite comic books of all time. I think it's one of the best comic books of all time. It's one of those comic books that I have like the first I had the first volume of, and I would lend it out to people all the time. Be like, look, I know you might never really like superhero stuff, but this subverts it. It's fun, it's interesting, it's unique. Give it a try. And eventually I lost it because someone borrowed it and never gave it back. But now I have this big ass fat boy, this thick compendium, and I'm not going to lend it out to anybody because I don't want someone to take it. But
As you shouldn't.
now the show is here and we can share the show and talk about whether or not we liked it. And hopefully, maybe I can convince some people to check it out.
Great. Good story.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Where's my round of applause? Guys in the
You don't
chat.
hear it?
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm listening.
I think
I can
I
hear
think
it.
we might have a problem every time you tell a good story. You just wait for the chat to put applause mode.
I'm waiting for actual applause. I think we need to start filming this in front of a live studio audience instead of a Twitch chat.
Hey, we're both vaccinated. It might be time soon, guys. If you
Yay!
want live now, try this show in New York City. Let
Let's
us
do
know.
it. I got an
How
applause.
many people?
Thank
How
you.
many people do you think we need in a room to have a live podcast show? Like how many? Like reasonably, like 50?
In a room,
Like is 50?
I don't know. I've seen podcasts record with 3 people in the room just watching,
Well, that's
commenting.
embarrassing. That's embarrassing. But we could probably like justify getting a space for what, like 50?
10's a
people
good
at
number.
least? 10.
10's a good number.
That's just like my friends and yours.
That's all we need. We just need hype men for the podcast.
What if we had a live podcast show, didn't invite any fans, and only invited like people that know us? Isn't that a
That's-
little masturbatory?
No, that sounds good. That's less masturbatory than inviting fans. If you invite fans to like oogle you and worship you, then that's masturbatory. If you invite your
That's
friends. My friends are the harshest critics. My
Marcus,
family
what
is
do
the
you- what do you-
harshest critics.
What do you think podcasts are? We get hundreds of downloads every week of random people listening to it. What
That's
do you think our show is?
I know. Well, I know, but I'm just saying that you said it was masturbatory, and I'm just saying that that's less masturbatory than at the actual podcast.
Marcus, my experience with Invincible is similar to yours. At the time of college, I was devouring comics, even more so than you. It was my whole identity in college, president of Comic Book Club, all that junk. Invincible was one of those comics that I downloaded and read a bunch. I probably fell off of it probably halfway through the run.
Mm-hmm.
No, right before the war. Right before
Okay.
the war is when I fell off. So I only made it like 6 or 7 volumes, I think. Is that how far that is? Not because I didn't like it, just because my comic book hobby was too expensive and I was
I
reading
get that.
too many things.
Yeah.
When you read too many things, then you can't really focus on any of them, and you just have to like keep up with what's happening in Marvel and DC. You don't have time for anything else.
You hear
But I
that,
always
Robert
loved it. I've
Kirkman?
always won.
You hear that? You weren't good enough for Nick. College Nick? No, thank you. I'd rather read. What were you reading instead?
DC and Marvel stuff.
Oh, I'd rather read DC and Marvel. Ooh. What are you reading? What are you reading? The Flash.
Ask me what I'm reading now.
Spider-Man's.
I'm reading almost nothing.
What are you
now.
reading? Oh, almost nothing. What are you reading?
Well, Humble Bundle did just come out with a Boom Studio comic book.
Yeah, I saw that.
Bundle, and I'm like a third of the way through the Irredeemable omnibus that was in there.
Oh, Redeemable's pretty good.
Yeah, it's similar to Invincible.
Mhm.
But loved Invincible. When I heard about this voice cast, I was super excited to watch, and then I watched it. I watched it
Nice.
with Lexi.
Nice,
We
nice,
watched
nice.
the 3 episodes.
Oh, let's talk about this voice cast before we even get into the show. It is
Okay.
stacked. It is just
Stacked.
full of like good people. I mean, you've got like hot boy Steven Ewan in there. Okay, I definitely said that name wrong.
It's Yun.
you-
I watched the video
Steven
right before this. I knew
Yeun.
you mess it up. It's Yun. Stephen Yun.
I know it's Steven Yeun. I say his name like all the time because Darren and I are constantly talking about him. And I don't know why I said Ewan on the podcast. Okay,
Stephen Ewan.
Ewan. Okay, who else is in there?
You got Sandra Oh, Golden Globe winner Sandra Oh.
She is
Why am I saying
incredible.
Sandra? You're right, it's Sandra.
She is incredible. I feel like I've seen her in Killing Eve, which is a great show. And she does a great
I've never
job
seen
in.
Killing Eve.
Really? If
I have always meant to watch it. I know it's probably amazing. I just haven't.
it's not. The first season is very good, and then the rest of it falls off because they switch directors and like creative leads every season.
Oh, sure.
So it doesn't have a similar voice.
But Sandra Oh, connection to the podcast, she was featured heavily in our Grey's Anatomy episode. Guys, if you want to hear us talk about the first episode and the musical episode of Grey's Anatomy, please go back and download the episode. We also
Fuck
play a
yeah.
great game of spoilers where Marcus has to guess about the crazy shit that happens in that show. He did pretty good.
Wait, no, Nick. You gotta have a qualifier. You have something like I said the hot boy Steven Ewan. I'm gonna keep
Golden Globe winner.
Golden Globe
Sandra
winner.
Oh.
Sarah. Okay, J.K. Simmons.
Oscar winner J.K. Simmons.
No, you can't just have their fucking trophies. You gotta have something fun. Famous hot dad J.K. Simmons.
Fucking welcome to the gun show at 68 years old. Fucking
Fuck
J.K. Simmons.
yeah.
Guys, if you want to hear more thoughts about J.K. Simmons,
Yeah,
he
sexy
is
daddy
he's
J.K.
in our La La
Simmons.
Land episode.
We have the talented, the beautiful Zazie Beetz. She
So the
is
beats.
she is a force to be reckoned with.
Very good in Joker. Very good in Deadpool 2. That's all I know her from.
Gillian Jacobs. What's her adjective?
Forever college aged girl Gillian Jacobs. Gillian Jacobs.
I
Have we
feel
featured her on the podcast at all?
Yeah, Gillian Jacobs. You know what? She has vibes where I feel like I don't know much about her, but I feel like if you met someone who's known her, they'd say, "Oh, she's nice." You know what I mean? She has those vibes.
Those people who when they're talking to you, you think they're always like not making eye contact.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be Gillian Jacobs.
Never making eye contact, Gillian Jacobs.
There it is.
We got hot hobo Jason Mantzoukas.
No, we got podcast rival Jason Mantzoukas. We're coming for you, Jason. Our show is so much better than How Did This Get Made? How Did This Get Made is trash compared to Now Try This. Our fans are saying it. Your fans are saying it.
Wow.
How Did This Get Made? Guys, if you want to redeem yourselves, I guess you're going to have to come onto our podcast and prove you're better than us.
I guess they would have to come on to our podcast to
Guys,
do that.
tweet it at How Did This Get Made that Now Try This is coming for their ass.
Okay, we got Clancy Brown, Seth Rogen,
I
Mark Hamill,
a
Zachary
so
Quinto.
bad. Guys, go to every podcast you listen to and say we're better. I want a rivalry anywhere.
You know
Any
what we should
podcast.
do? We should, because guys, we're trying to make Twitch affiliate status, and you have to make a certain amount of streaming hours to do so. We should go on other people that are under the podcast category and harass them. I think that makes for good content and won't get us banned. And live stream it.
I think the problem with that is we'd be punching down because no like major podcast is on Twitch.
That's fair. Well, we could be punching up. There's a lot of people with lots of followers here.
You're right. There are.
Come on. We'll do it. Anyway, it's a stacked cast. Like I watch a lot of animated content, and there's a lot of people that kind of circulate in them, right? It's always the same few voice actors. I mean, you can throw a dart at a board full of cartoons, and you're gonna hit someone who's part of Critical Role or something like that, you know?
And this has some of those too. Fucking Carrie
yeah.
Payton, Mae Whitman, fucking Mark Hamill. Those are fucking voiceover gods.
Yeah, and but this is it's different. It's a little different because it has a lot of mainstream actors in there that are like a lot of award winners, and I think it shows. It comes across in the voice acting for sure. Not anything against the other voice actors at all, but it definitely comes across that they're good actors.
I agree. it was staggering to me when they were getting this cast together. I was so surprised with how amazing of a cast they got. And I think also one of the things that really helps is Robert Kirkman is a producer on the show. I
Yeah.
think after Walking Dead, he obviously got a lot of clout.
Mhm.
So instead of what normal creators have to do, and they have to sell off their babies to the networks and to the studios and hope for the best, he was involved. He was there.
I mean, Robert Kirkman is very talented. I was
Oh, I can
telling
hear you.
Darren
I
a
can hear
story
you.
that
Oh, I can hear you now.
I spent years at Comic-Con trying to meet Robert Kirkman. Like, I mean, two of my favorite comic books
Oh, did you
ever
know he
written.
wrote all 8 episodes?
Yes. I was just gonna say that. He works as a writer, and I was
Oh,
watching
sorry.
interviews with the cast of Invincible, and they were mentioning working with Robert Kirkman too, because he's there giving notes and stuff like that, and what it's like to work with him in the room. And he seems like a good dude to work with too. I mean, Jason Mantzoukas mentioned a story where he was saying like Robert Kirkman would write a joke, and Jason Mantzoukas would be like, "I think I could do better." And like try to improv a better joke, and Robert Kirkman's like, "Yeah, I'd like to see you try." It's kind of fun.
That's great. He sounds confident, but also willing to listen.
Yeah, 100%. That's the
That's
best.
exactly what you need out of a good
That's
writer.
exactly what you need. But I mean, like I was telling Darren that I used to go to Comic Con every year, New York City Comic Con, and try to meet Robert Kirkman. And I would go first thing in the morning, go straight, not like take any detours, get distracted by any of the beautiful like booth people or anything. Just go straight there and try to get a ticket to meet him. And every time it was taken. And one year I got a speaker pass for Comic Con. And I was like, this is it. I get to go in early. I get to go in through an exclusive entrance. I get to go in before everybody else gets to fucking go in. I am going to meet Robert Kirkman. I went in before the majority of the people, and still the tickets were already all given out.
Crazy.
So, Robert Kirkman, if you're listening, I love you. And come be on the podcast. I actually don't love you. I don't know you, but I love your work.
You don't
Do
need
you
to
want to add that
separate it.
qualifier because he doesn't know so he doesn't think I'm crazy. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I only like my crazy fans. Give it up. Shout out in the chat to all my crazy fans out there.
just crickets, Nick. Just crickets.
Give him a second. There's a lag. Give him a second.
Where's
They'll come
Lexi
out.
at? Where's she at?
I don't know. That's what I'm banking on. Ooh, see, Rianne414 says you can love someone you don't know. I think. I agree.
But she's not sure. So
There I go.
wow, there you go. Yeah, that took too long, Lexi. I'm docking you girlfriend points.
So maybe we should talk about the show.
Oh, I guess. I mean, we have been talking about the show. I told the story about Robert Kirkman. We went through the entire voice cast. I don't know what talking about the show looks like, Nick, if it's not talking about the show. Okay? Jesus Christ. This is the most on point we've stayed while also kind of being off on a tangent.
This is the most. Yes, you're right. This is the most where we can't dock ourselves for getting off point because we're on point, but it's still not.
Yeah, still not talking about the plot of the show, I guess. Nick,
Okay,
what's the plot
so
of the show?
The plot of the show is you got my man, fucking Mark Grayson, teenage heartthrob, going through school, waiting for his superpowers to show up because his dad's basically Superman. And that's the show, about a young, budding superhero finding his way through the world. However, craziness, this show. So in the comic book, this takes 6 issues to happen, right? In the fucking show, they do it in the first fucking episode.
Yeah.
I was so I know what's coming, right? I've read this comic. I know what's coming. It's been years though, so I don't remember the details, but I remember the general.
Oh, I guess we're just jumping to the first big thing.
Spoilers for Invincible.
Spoilers for the first 3 episodes of Invincible.
Yeah. So there I was watching the first episode, enjoying it. Everything's great. The voice cast is cool, and I already heard that it might happen in the first episode because I heard people saying the first episode's crazy. I was like, dude, this is the first episode. I'm sitting there with Lexi. Everything's chill, and then Omni-Man walks into the Guardians' hideout and fucking starts.
Not
destroying.
even that. Hold on. Not even that. It's much worse because we need to rewind because you just jumped way ahead of like directly to the big moment. No, we gotta because they spend the first whole episode making you fall in love with these characters, with the family, with Mark, with his dad, with the mom and the family dynamic. They really build them up. You're invested from the start in this family.
That's true. Steven Yeun does a great job as Mark, making him feel like that affable, lovable
Yeah.
teenager who's trying to figure out his way through the world. Very Peter Parker-esque,
Hmm.
very, Spider-Man-esque.
Yep.
That young, honestly, it's exactly like Spider-Man. It's
Yes. Yeah.
exactly like Ultimate Spider-Man or that kind of, or any of the first Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. You
And
meet him. He's a young
and you
budding
see his
hero.
reverence for his father, who's a superhero. You can tell he wants to be him
Mhm.
so bad.
Yes. Which
Yeah, but it
is
just seems like it's like, oh, he came to
Yeah,
help.
yeah, but it's obvious that he's not a part of the team,
Mhm.
which is interesting. And they are kind of annoyed that he's there. Like a lot of times he'll come in and they're like, I got it. I need you.
Yeah.
So there's obvious tension in the beginning. But I was going to say, too, that before we get to that point, right before the scene that you're talking about, they
Mhm.
make you sit there and just get really invested in every single member of the Guardians of the Globe's backstory. You see Fishman kind of just sitting there hanging out at
All
home.
alone.
You see, all alone. He's upset. The
No,
Guardians is all he
during that moment, I
has.
turned to Lexi and I was like, he has no friends. I was so sad
You
for
reach
Fishman.
the Scarlet, whatever the version of the Flash is, and he's hanging out with his wife, and his wife is like, "Hey, like I
Red
need you
Rush.
to Red Rush, yeah. Hey, I need you to like take it easy. I can't have you running
We got
around all the
5 minute scene.
time. A 5 minute scene that's with him and his wife. We're getting invested in these characters. They show the Green Lady.
Oh, Red Rush was voiced by Michael Cudlitz.
Who's that?
He's Abraham from Walking Dead.
Oh, they show Green Ghost, and she's like has a modeling career going on, and this, and then you see the
She was a
Amazon.
photographer.
You see the Wonder Woman character, and she's like a businesswoman, and they're like, "Wow, we're
War
reporting
Woman.
strong numbers," and she's
Oh,
like,
War
"No."
Woman was voiced by Lauren Cohen from Walking Dead.
Oh, she's like, "No, this is supposed to be free. This is supposed to be blah blah blah." She obviously cares
Oh
about
wait,
the
hold
world
on.
and peace.
Were all the Guardians voiced by Walking Dead people?
That makes sense.
Because fucking what's his face? Martian Man was voiced by Chad Coleman, who's Tyrese from Walking Dead. Warren was Lauren Cohen. Who else was on the team? Green Ghost was Sonequa Martin Green,
Mm.
who's now on Star Trek, who was on Walking Dead. That's so fun. All the members were part of, like, they're like the gods of Walking Dead.
Nice.
Sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. That's a good point. So then you spend all that time, and then Nick, then that happens. The thing you want to talk about.
Yeah, go on. Go ahead, talk about it.
No, you talk about it. I just wanted to set up because I feel like you were just getting into it, and that's like the big thing about the whole 3 episodes. You know what I mean? There's other stuff, obviously, but I wanted to
I
say
can't
that the
find who
show does a
voiced
good
Warren.
job of building up towards that moment.
So you meet all these people. I'm sitting there with Lexi. I'm talking about how sad fucking Fishman is because he has no friends. We're fucking sitting there. And then Omni-Man walks into the base and they're like, "Oh, who called us? I didn't call us." And I was like, "Oh, fuck. Is it happening now?" And then Omni-Man goes in. Doesn't say a god. This is, such fucking good filmmaking because he doesn't
Mhm.
say a goddamn word. He just comes in with a look on his face that says, "Destroy." And one by one, he literally tears apart
Mhm.
the Guardians. And it got to the point where Lexi is sitting there with her shirt above her feet
Oh!
because she was so dumbfounded what's
Yeah.
happening. I'm just sitting there like, yeah, yeah. Oh, you saw her ribs. Oh my god! The moment when he takes. It's so fucking smart because as soon as Omni-Man gets there, he's going one by one trying to hit them all. And Red Rush, who's the fucking fastest, is like pushing them just out of the way to die. Like again and
Yeah.
again and again. And then Omni-Man's like, oh, Red Rush is the problem. So Red Rush tries to rush him and he grabs him by the fucking head. And he's fucking there, and then Red Rush fucking Omega Fist super fast punches fucking Omni-Man in the chest, and he starts breaking his hands, and then they have this great slow motion where his dead
Yeah.
hands are hitting Omni-Man's fucking chest as fucking Omni-Man squeezes, his head explodes, and it then one by one goes through all of them. It is fucking nuts. It is wild. Such smart storytelling. Crazy that they got to it right away. And honestly, I think it was the right move. Like, fucking get people into the conceit of the show right away. Like, in a comic book, the whole thing about the comic, I remember when it came out, the whole thing was nobody knew what was going to happen for 6 or 7 issues. So everyone thought it's like, oh, this is just Robert Kirkman's Spider-Man. Okay, it's good. Oh, it's fine. People were like talking about it, but it wasn't like, and it was like flying off the shelves, but nobody was like, this is the best comic ever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then the conceit of the comic showed up way later, and everyone's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And that's when it exploded about
Yeah.
how amazing it was. I remember reading at the beginning and being like, I mean, this is good. I mean, I'm going to keep reading it. But
Yeah,
it's not-
yeah.
Sure. And then I get to what everything that's happening, and I'm like, Oh, and it all falls into place.
Yeah,
Crazy.
someone in the chat makes a good point, Rianne. I hadn't felt that way since Game of Thrones, and that's a good point because I feel like it was a good twist. Like if you don't know the show, even if you watch superhero stuff, this isn't the kind of thing that is typically in superhero content, right?
Mm,
And so
yeah.
I also am enjoying the way that they are adapting the comic book. I think having Robert Kirkman involved is really good because he gets to adjust the story to a different platform and also maybe adjust things that he might have not liked how they worked the first time around, which I think is
Yep.
kind of nice. Getting a second whack at your work as a creator. So this scene is actually pretty different in the comic books because in the comic books it happens in an instant. There's no fight really, nothing. They are overwhelmed by him and he takes them out in a second. So I did like that there was a bit of a fight that happened in the comic book in the TV show because it makes it more grueling, it makes it more visually appealing, and it also gives a little bit more credit to the Guardians of the Globe because in the comic book they're taken out in like 2 seconds. So it's like, okay, they were sucked anyway. So the
Yeah.
difference between them and the team that eventually replaces them later on is they're like, okay, whatever, they all suck. They're not on the man. But this kind of showed like they were a different breed of heroes.
They are the Justice League. They
They are
are
the
on that
Justice
level.
League.
They are amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also just looked and I found Ross, the guy, the guy who is Aaron in The Walking Dead,
Mhm.
is the Immortal and Aquarius.
Robert Kirkman just went through the crew of Walking Dead and was like, "You get to be on my show. You get to be on my show.
And
You
Darkwing
get to be on
is
my show."
Lenny James from The Walking Dead,
Oh,
who plays Morgan. So
that's
it's
good.
pretty much the all stars of The Walking Dead.
I was
were
watching an interview with
so
J.K.
good.
Simmons, and he was saying how he was like, "Oh, I'm not part of the Walking Dead crew," and I was like, "It's just one guy. What are you talking about?" But now I see what he means because there's a lot of the cast that was a part of the Walking Dead.
Yeah, very, very cool. I kind of love it. I love it. I love it when you stay loyal to your friends. It gives me hope in the industry that if I can just make one good friend, I'll get work.
Okay, so there are a good amount of differences between the comic book and the animated series, but like I said earlier, they all make sense to me.
Yeah, you have to, right? I've
Mhm.
always said this. If you are adapting a comic book into anything else, you have to change it because the medium is different.
Yeah,
Comic book medium is different than everything else. The way you read it, the way you read it week to week, the way the
yeah.
pictures interact with the words, it has to be something different. You cannot take a I have
It's
if you
hard to
get
adapt.
even if you try to be 1000% loyal, you get something like Watchmen, which is
Mhm.
pretty good but not quite hits the mark, and the things you
Yeah,
change aren't quite right. You have to adapt it, change it to what your medium is.
yeah,
I think The Boys, I think a lot of people nowadays are really starting to get that you have to rewrite the whole thing with the same soul to really
exactly.
make a great product.
Yeah, and it's hard to do. It's so hard. I'm so glad that Robert Kirkman is involved because he's really talented. Like to be able to create a good like television show and
Yeah,
also a good comic book, like that is a difficult thing to do. It's hard
yeah.
to capture the pacing because when you read a comic book, you're reading it
Pacing,
at your own
yes.
pace.
At your own
Like
pace.
so if you are going issue by issue, you're having to wait a month between issues or whatever. Like I could read this whole thing and I could sit there and read it in like a day or two but you want to really capture the same kind of sense that the comic book had. One
Mhm.
thing Robert Kirkman does that's really cool, also a little annoying, is that he leaves every issue off on a cliffhanger. The annoying part of that is that sometimes the cliffhangers are really dumb. So it'll be like a character's doing something they're not supposed to be doing. They'll hear a noise and then it'll like you'll see movement in the corner and then the issue will end. And then the next issue picks up and it was just a cat. So you're like, okay, I was like, I understand that you're like trying to get me to buy the next issue, but that was kind of stupid. But Robert Kirkman really pushes to do that as a comic writer, and I see a lot of that same sensibility in the animated series too.
I bet he also got, and I think you can tell a little bit because I loved the Walking Dead TV show at first, and I think it fell off, and then I stopped watching around when Negan showed up. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's still okay. I'm sure it still has good moments, but I think the pacing on the show is something they never quite got right,
Mhm.
and I'm sure he saw that because the pacing on this show on these 3 episodes was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
It really fucking was great. It really breathed when it needed to breathe. It really took its time when it needed to take its time, and it really ramped it up when it needed to.
Mhm.
So, like for example, and this is my favorite part of the whole show. This is my number one. My number one favorite part of the whole
Okay,
show
okay.
was, I don't know if, can you guess what my favorite part of the
Yeah,
whole
your
show?
favorite part of the whole show is the first scene in the first episode.
Yes,
I knew that. Yes.
Ah!
With the John
So-
Hamm as the dad.
The first episode spends 5 minutes on nobody, on this random guy who is a security officer at the White House where the big first attack and the big action scene happens. And he's talking to the other random person about his life and about how he has a stepson that he's like helped turn his life around and how he's helped him get into college and he's about to cry about it. And then it does not matter. It is not part of the show.
Mhm.
It does not the whole purpose of that is to just make the world feel alive and
Yes.
full, and to make sure you remember that every time one of these supervillains comes or the superhero saves a person, that's a person.
It
They have a
also
life. They
yeah.
have a backstory.
It also does a good job of setting up Robert Kirkman's form of storytelling where he is subverting your feelings and what you think. So immediately you spend all that time with the character. Darren and I were going, oh, he's going to die. He's going to die. Oh, we hope he doesn't die. And then he doesn't die. So it
Yeah.
subverts what you think is going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
And then the next episode starts off with them again.
Again, Marcus, I was so happy because Steve, who's okay, he took his son. We got to meet the son, the stepson, and then there was another attack. This poor fucking guy. There was another attack, and he almost got. And then the son pushed him out, and he said, "Dad!" And then they're literally about to die, and Steve turns to him and was like, "You called me dad." My heart was broken.
Yeah. Also, it wasn't an attack. It was a garbage bag that Mark threw out in the first episode that flew all that far away. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
also, I want to show just like a visual representation for those of you watching the live stream. Like this, you see this part? This is
Yeah.
how much of the comic book passes before the Omni-Man thing. So like that's a good bit of comic book that passes
That's the
before
whole
that
volume,
even
yeah.
happens. Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. You know what my biggest problem with the show is? My number one problem.
What's up?
There's no. Can you guess?
Oh, let's see. Number one problem with the show is that you. No, I can't guess.
Steve hasn't come back. Why wasn't Steve in the third episode? I'm so mad. Steve,
Oh,
number
yeah,
one
yeah.
favorite character.
I know,
I
yeah.
wanted to find out what happened with him and his son. I wanted to meet the wife. I want them in.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought I when the third episode started, I turned to Lexi. I said, "If Steve's on this fucking episode, I'm gonna rile." My favorite part is those fucking asides that have nothing to do with anything.
I know. Yeah, it was
I was
pretty
very
intense.
disappointed.
Nick
I did
threw
throw
an
an actual
actual fit.
I was upset.
You got called out. You got
super
called
upset.
out.
I was super upset.
Yeah. So
You don't have perfect storytelling for 2 episodes and then you just drop. You know, in
okay,
the rule of threes,
it's not
Marcus,
that big of a deal.
It's the rule. No.
It's
Hold
not
on,
that
let's get
big
into
of a
this.
deal. It's
Hold on,
coming
as
back.
a writer, the rule of threes is important.
Do you know who the son is? It's
That kid
coming
from
back.
Stranger
There's going to be
Things.
more. No, not the kid. Yeah, the kid from Stranger Things. But I meant in the story, the kid is an important character in this comic book. So he's going to come
Oh,
back.
I just got spoiled because I looked at the name on the IMDb. Oh, I just spoiled myself. I forgot.
Oh,
Is that
you
in the
forgot?
comics? I forgot.
Yeah, it is in the comic book.
I haven't read this comic. When did it come out? Fucking 2009?
Oh, yeah, I guess
I
you're
haven't
right,
read this
yeah.
comic in 10 years.
That's fair. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that he's coming back. There's going to be more of that character. So don't you worry.
That's not what I wanted to see. I wanted to be surprised. You know what kind of fucking fit I would have gave if that person came back and I
That's
didn't
true.
know.
Well,
I gotta
Nick,
stop looking at shit.
It sounds like you gave your bad review of The Walking Dead. I have more bad reviews in a game
Walking
we're
Dead?
playing today. Not
Oh
Walking
my
Dead, of Invincible. Sorry. I have
Oh,
more bad
there you go.
reviews in this game we're playing today. Are you ready, Nick? Because it's game time.
Roll the clip.
Now try this trivia. Now try this trivia. Now trivia. Now trivia. Now trivia this.
Boom. Okay, guys, we're back. That's a short clip. Are you ready, Nick? Are you ready for this game?
Yeah, what's the game?
I'm going to read you a 1-star
also?
review. Oh,
That was
okay.
that was your best segue. That was your best segue
Thank you.
you've ever
Thank you.
done.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're getting better.
I'm gonna read you a 1-star review from Amazon, okay? And it's about a superhero movie, and you have to guess which superhero movie they're critiquing.
That's a good game.
It's hard, but I made sure that all the reviews had clues as to what the movie was, and I
I'm
think
not
you'll
gonna
get
say
it.
that I'm an expert on superheroes, but I'm an expert on superheroes. Let's
Okay.
go.
Okay, Nick, you have one lifeline as always. You can ask the chat for help if you need it.
Okay,
Are you
guys.
ready?
All right, guys, you better not fail me this time.
The first
'Cause
one.
every other time you failed me.
This review comes from Craig C. and it is titled, Please Stop with the Social Engineering. Craig says, please stop with the social engineering and the politically correct nonsense. Focus on making a great movie and leave the politics out of it.
Oh gosh.
What superhero movie is this 1-star review for?
Are you giving me a time frame, or are these from all time?
All time.
Goddamn. I mean, here's the thing.
There's
That
nothing-
sounds like a neck. That sounds like a neck beard. So that sounds like Captain Marvel or Wonder Woman.
So I'll say this: there's
Both
nothing tricky.
Aren't not political. They both.
I'm
just
not
have
trying to
women
like
in them.
fuck with you or anything like that. I try to play it straightforward so that way
Okay.
you could at least have a chance.
Yeah, this isn't like fucking Spider-Man 2001.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fucking. There were a lot of neckbeards that criticized Wonder Woman, but there were way more, I think, that did Captain Marvel. Mostly because I don't think it was a great film. I mean, I'm just gonna go with my instinct. Oh god, I don't know. Now I'm
Oh
thinking,
my
like,
god, look at the
hold on.
nerves! Oh my
Hold on, what if
god,
this
it's
is Black
getting to
Panther?
you.
Oh, what if these people
It's
are racist? What if
getting
it's Black
to
Panther?
you.
Just read it again, but in a racist voice. Let me.
What's a racist voice? I read it correctly. I'm gonna say that.
You know what a racist voice is.
Trust your instincts. You have a 50-50 shot.
Captain Marvel, final answer.
Captain Marvel is your final answer, and Captain Marvel is the correct answer.
Yeah.
You did it. Did
I'll
it.
start.
Captain Marvel's
Boom, boom,
correct.
boom.
Yeah, those
I got a
fucking
point.
you got. I knew you were gonna get that one because I was like, this is the only one that has like no obvious hint, but you know from the tone,
Yeah.
like you know what movie that is from the fucking tone.
How many are there?
There's 7.
Okay.
You ready for the next one?
I got 1 point. Yes.
Got
What do
1
I
point.
get if I get all 7?
You
What if I
get.
clean sweep? What do I get?
I will.
Do I
I
get
will.
2 challenges in a row?
What? No.
Do I get next month all me? May is Nick
May
month?
is Nick. You know what? If you do it, you get to pick what we do for the next live stream. There you go.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Sounds good. Guys, welcome to Slay the Spire.
Okay, this review comes from unnamed Amazon customer and is titled That Was Painful. They say, that was painful. Think Baywatch Hasselhoff, but worse at acting. And that's exactly what you get with this movie. Kill yourself before you even consider watching. What superhero movie is this 1-star review for?
I don't know why. I don't know why, but when you said David Hasselhoff, I was thinking of someone that was like hammy and a big actor like that. And I want to say Ben Affleck. I want to say Batman versus Superman because that movie was trash. And for whatever reason, Hasselhoff is making me think Ben. Now, let me think for a second though, because
Okay.
it's probably not a Marvel movie. I'm thinking of someone like Hasselhoff, someone hammy, some Baywatch. Oh, maybe it's Aquaman. Aquaman swims.
I love the thought process of you going through your entire catalog of comic book knowledge to try to find out what movie this possibly could be.
Or maybe I'm thinking too hard, and maybe this is the 90s film of Nick Fury, and it literally is David Hasselhoff.
Could be.
I don't think you would do that. I don't think you'd do that to me. Oh, God. They said it was trash, and I should kill myself instead of watching it.
You should kill yourself before you even consider watching it. So if you're thinking about watching it, it's already too late. You should
And
have
why
killed
was
yourself.
Hasselhoff mentioned?
It just says,
What-
think Baywatch Hasselhoff, but worse at acting. It is
Were they
not
making a clever
Baywatch.
pun about
For those of you guessing Baywatch in the chat.
Are they? Is it Baywatch because it's water? Or is it Baywatch because it's Ben Affleck? Why am I thinking Ben Affleck? Why can't I get my head off of Ben Affleck? Fuck it, Ben Affleck, Batman vs Superman.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Nick, you are wrong.
Ugh.
You should have trusted your gut and PR Romeo because the answer is Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., starring David Hasselhoff.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that was the answer.
Fuck you. That's not a real
What do you mean?
superhero movie.
It is a superhero movie. It's a Marvel superhero movie.
Nick Fury is not a superhero.
He has telekinesis. There's someone with telekinesis in the movie. His superpowers. He is a superhero. What are you talking about?
Nick Fury is not a superhero.
Nick Fury
He's
is
a
a
government
superhero.
agent.
He's
he's
a
a man.
superhero. Oh my god.
He's
Nick
not
Fury's a superhero.
Great. Well, so that question didn't count. So
It
it's out
did
of
count.
6.
Stop,
It
you
did not count.
little baby boy over here.
Nick
Nick Fury is a
Fury is not-
superhero. Everyone in Marvel
Everyone
is
in
a superhero.
Marvel is
Even
not
Uncle Ben.
even Uncle Ben.
Exactly. Uncle Ben is a hero. What would Spider-Man be without Uncle Ben?
His superpower is his ability to lead.
Thank you. Thank you for the support.
Why are you guys on my side? Don't you want me to win?
Okay.
God, whatever.
Next one.
That was bullshit.
No,
I
it was
can't
not.
believe I mentioned it too.
You got it. You should. It said David Hasselhoff in the thing. Okay. Are you ready?
No, I'm upset.
This review comes from a book lover. It's titled "One of the Worst Movies of Any Genre I Have Ever Seen. A Complete Waste of Time." This person loves books, and they want you to know it. My 14-year-old son loved it. I'm 52, and this movie was total garbage. I guess they're not aiming for a wide audience, as this was intellectually bankrupt. Nothing but computer-generated effects, no story, a bad guy that was totally lame, and a Spider-Man that was a complete bore and hardly even wore his trademark red and blue costume. Add in lame jokes, and this movie is a total disaster, all caps. Dumb, and stupid. This movie lacked a story, lacked acting, and lacked heart and soul. 0 stars. They give it 1 star, though.
I feel like the answer has to be Avengers Infinity War, because that's the only movie with Spider-Man in it that doesn't. Oh, wait a second. What if they're racist and it's Into the Spider-Verse? It's either Into the Spider-Verse or Avengers. Wait, what did it say about the bad guy?
Okay, it says a bad guy that was, hold on, wait, totally lame. 5 totalies.
The bad guy in Infinity War is not lame. Like, even I think, like, a person that is being critical. I couldn't even tell you who the bad guy was in Into the Spider-Verse off the top of my head. Not really.
What?
It's like
It was
corporate
Kingpin
America.
and corporate America, Prowler.
It was Doc Ock and Kingpin.
Doc
but it was
Ock,
like,
yeah.
Exactly. See what I'm saying? But there's not like one figurehead. What? Oh wait.
What do you got, Nick?
Now,
What's that
well,
brain
now I'm thinking
doing?
now I'm thinking about all the other Spider-Man movies, and there's
Uh-huh.
some fucking lame ass fucking villains, like
yeah.
the Lizard and Amazing Spider-Man.
There's definitely some key
Electro was
things
cool.
in this that if you think about the right movie, I think
Venom
you'll
in
get
Spider-Man 3 was bad. Everyone likes Doc Ock. Everyone likes corporate America.
it. Okay, Nick, you're running out of time.
I
What do
don't-
you
I'm
got?
like, there's no time limit. This is my podcast. I'll take as long as I want. Take the next 16 hours.
Okay. It's a geek out rules where if you feel like it's dragging. Oh my god, they're just guessing. Oh, they're doing a countdown into the chat. Oh no. Nick,
I'm
what do you
gonna
got?
say
Which Spider-Man movie?
Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3. Venom's the bad. Spider-Man.
That's your final answer?
Topher Grace. Topher Grace is the lame guy. Yes.
Okay. Final answer, Spider-Man 3. Nick, you are incorrect.
God
the correct
damn it.
answer was said in the chat by Rianne414. It is Spider-Man Far From Home. She said it earlier, and then she said other things.
What? I didn't even consider that one.
He doesn't wear his costume for because he's wearing the black costume, and then he's also like not really in costume. That's what that person must have been talking about.
But Mysterio's so cool.
I could
Oh,
see them
fuck.
thinking Mysterio's a lame villain. Like, he's just a guy with a bunch of drones and stuff. I liked him, but I could see this person's criticism.
That's why it was smart.
Also,
That's why it was like really smart. Whatever.
and no, I agree. But this person is 52, Nick, and this movie is absolute garbage and intellectually bankrupt. So
Wow, and like really is CGI everywhere, because Mysterio's like literally making CGI. Like nothing's real in that movie. You know what? I should have gotten that one. Yeah.
okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Next
Yeah, I'm ready for
review.
this one. I need
This
to, like,
review
I need to-
comes from
I
Pat.
need to minimize the chat for a minute. It's getting in my head.
Okay, this review comes from Pat. Guys, I can still see the chat. So your voices are heard. This review comes from Pat, and it's titled "As Corny as Django Unchained."
I love that movie.
Pat says this movie.
Wait, so does that either that means there are black people in this film or Jamie Foxx in this film? But please go on.
This Pat says this movie was ruined for me for its constant virtue signaling. I think it's called. It's hard to enjoy movies anymore. The Second World War gets typically oversimplified as good versus evil. Never mind that the US joined forces with Joseph Stalin. You know what they say, history is written by the victors. People will tell me, oh, just enjoy the movie. Well, it's hard to enjoy the movie when it's not merely designed for entertainment purposes, but for propagating an ideology.
Well, fuck. Hold on. Were they referencing World War II for their example, or was it about World War II? I was confused about the wording of that, because the only movie about World War II is Captain America. the first Avenger. That's the only one.
The Second World War gets typically oversimplified as good versus evil.
Yeah, that seems too easy. That seems too easy. I'm gonna be fucking pissed if this person is just an idiot and it's Wonder Woman, even though it's both. I guess Captain America,
Well,
the
Nick,
first Avenger.
do they sound like an idiot? They're big-brained. They got big brains, obviously.
Gosh,
I'm leaving
I
this
almost want to
review.
guess. I almost got to guess Wonder Woman just because fucking Captain America, first Avenger. That's
Final
that has to be
answer?
my guess. They said
Okay.
World War II.
Nick, you have gotten this movie correct, and so did Rian414 from the chat. Good job. She's killing it.
Ugh, great.
Good job. You got it right. You got it right, Nick.
Jesus Christ.
I
Jesus Christ,
also,
what's the- give me the next one.
when you said though, I put it in because I was like, it's obviously Captain America, but there's a chance it could have been Wonder Woman.
There's a chance. There's a chance.
Okay, this review is from Gene Siskel.
I went to high school.
Oh, you did? His review is titled Mother of God. This movie is as big a disappointment as The Phantom Menace was for me 20 years ago. The studio knew we would watch this movie regardless of what type of crap stew they brewed up. Sadly, had they stuck closer to the source material, this would have been a lot better. But the hack screenwriters thought that something that a high school student could come up with would go over. And unfortunately, it did. The movie is all hype. Phase 4 will be a social justice warrior gush fest. As prefaced here, they did not mention one of the stones in the movie, though, and that stone is the refund stone. Oh shit, mic drop. Just good.
For a
mic
second,
drop.
I thought it was Wonder Woman because they said Mother of God, and I was like, yeah, she's she's the daughter of a god. Well, is this the last one?
No, there's 2 more after this.
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure this is one of the Infinity War movies. I mean, Endgame was the last Phase 3. Actually, it wasn't the last Phase 3 movie. I think like Ant-Man was the last 3, but no one gives a shit about Ant-Man. I mean, it's got to be Endgame, right? Or no, Far From Home was the last Endgame. But that was already an answer. Okay, I mean, it's got to be Endgame, right? The only context was Infinity Stones and. No, but the stones were in Infinity War, not in Endgame. Oh shit! Hold on, is it Endgame or is it Infinity War?
There are other clues in this, but
Did I miss them?
no, I don't think so. Maybe not.
I didn't hear any. Give me the clues again.
Okay, this movie is all hype. Phase 4 will be a social justice warrior gush fest, as prefaced here. I would say that's a big clue.
Oh, I'm gonna say Endgame because when all the women showed up.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Nick, you and PR Romeo are correct.
Oh, nice.
It is Avengers Endgame. It is because when all the women showed up. That's what it
Nice.
was. They showed up
Nice.
and they were like, no, 1 star. Need to leave a better review. Women.
Yeah, how dare they put women into their show?
Yeah, how dare they put women?
It's
This
women.
review is like 4 pages long. I just took the last paragraph because it had the most clues.
Oh.
But
Jesus
it was a very, very, very long review. That
Hey, everybody knows Endgame, the highest grossing movie of all time. It was a shit show.
Yeah, he in the beginning he starts with like the good. He breaks the review into 3 parts: the good, the bad, and then the like whatever, the details, I guess, or I forgot what he said the last part was. But the first part, the good, was Hawkeye and Captain America. Those are the only 2 things he had as good in the movie. I don't think Hawkeye is good in any of the movies.
Yeah,
So
I don't think it's anybody's. I don't think it's his fault. But you're right.
Yeah,
he had 2
100%.
seconds where he was swinging a sword. He's like, "I'm sad."
Yeah, exactly.
That was all he did in that movie.
Okay, next review. You ready? Charles C. This review is titled "Terrible Like All the Others."
Wait, say it again. What?
It's Charles C. And the review is titled "Terrible Like All the Others." Okay. Terrible waste of time. Turned all the male Spider-Mans into morons. Also had some of the worst visual effects I've ever seen.
What?
All
Is that?
terrible waste of time. Turned all the male Spider-Mans into morons.
I mean, this is obviously into the Spider-Verse, but like,
Not Spider-Man.
his only-
Spider-Mans.
is this person's only liked character the anime girl in that movie? Because that's the only female Spider-Man in that movie. I mean, Into the Spider-Verse. That's my guess.
You are correct, and so is everyone in the chat for guessing Into the Spider-Verse. Okay, last one.
But wait, but the only person he liked. Oh no, in Spider-Gwen. That's right.
No, because I think that he didn't like anybody because he hated the movie, gave it 1 star. He hated
No, he
it's
did.
terrible. He
said fine.
hated everybody, but he especially hated that the mans were turned into morons. Yeah. I was reading a lot of 1 star reviews for this game, and I want to say that if you're leaving a 1 star review for a superhero movie, for the most part, you're either racist or homophobic or sexist. Those are all the reviews. Like there can be valid criticisms, totally, for 1 star reviews. There are 100 reasons you might leave a 1 star review for a movie, but all the ones I read were homophobic, sexist, or racist. Last one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Rodney R. Martinez. He says, "Someone kill me now. What is this? I'd rather watch a penny collect Russ than watch this again.
Russ, the
Oh
Batman
my
movie. Got it.
God. Shaq should be sent to Guantanamo Bay for this. I think this movie is an indication of the forthcoming end of time."
Oh, I feel bad because I know what this is. But chat, before I say what it is, go ahead and let me know what you think it is. I'll use your answer. Oh, you guys want me to lose? Give me the right answer. Don't give me a bad answer. Get out of here. Get out of here. Did you say how I said here? Like
It was beautiful.
Get out of here.
I'm never going to correct you.
Get out of here.
Get out of here! No!
Okay,
no,
well, you know what?
Nick! You need to get out of here!
Guys,
my
never
best
mind.
Arnold
Never watch our
Schwarzenegger.
Twitch. Get off this chat. Get off this fucking stream.
Why?
You're fucking useless.
'Cause they
the
get
answer is
Space Jam?
Steel. Because they get Space Jam twice and Shazam.
Space
Thank you,
Jam
this
is a
one
good
person's
guess.
Steel.
Everyone
Nice.
remembers Shaquille O'Neal.
Everyone knows Shaq was in Space Jam.
Nick asked for help in the chat for those of you at home listening and not part of the chat, and they all responded with Space Jam as the answer to this question.
Okay, useless. The answer is Steel.
The answer is Steel. Nick, you're correct. Good job.
Yeah, 5 out of 7.
Good
Or
job.
5 out of 6, because one of your questions is
Nope,
bullshit.
it counts.
That did not count.
Oh, PR Romeo got it right. Just want to shout out because he got it right. Also,
Yeah, everyone else
Shazam is wrong.
trash.
Did you mean Kazam? Are you ready, Nick? We're gonna hop
Yeah,
back into the show.
Kazam.
Hop back into the podcast. Keep talking about this shit right here. This good crack. The holy
The show
book.
Invincible? Mhm.
The show Invincible. Were there anything that you remembered from the comic books being different from the TV show? Because I feel like there's a couple of things I want to talk about, but
No, you can talk
just
about
wanna
those
see it.
because I read the comic 10 years ago. I don't remember.
yeah. So like you mentioned earlier, the killing of the Guardians of the Globes happens earlier in the show than it does in the comic book, which I think works out better pacing wise, like we were talking about, because then you spend the rest of the season building up to that mystery. The cliffhangers can be people getting a little closer to figuring it out, and twists and turns that the stories can take, getting closer and closer to this big reveal, which at the end of the last episode, whatever. At the end of one of the episodes, they're like slowly building towards that reveal. Every episode, they leave you with a little bit more and a little bit more, which is kind of fun, kind of exciting. I like that better because in the comic books, you have all this story and the story's just going normally and then this twist happens. Whereas I like the twist happening earlier because you spend time with it. You know, you get to feel that pressure, that anxiety, wondering what's happened. Also, cautiously getting closer to Omni-Man and closer to family, while also knowing that this big reveal has to happen at some point, and what are the consequences going to be?
I think it's crazy because other events that are happening are also in the comic, like him meeting Adam Eve and him meeting the Teen Team and these things. Those happen in the comics before the Omni-Man thing. But right?
Not all of them. Some of them happen after. So he
Some of
meets
them
the Teen
happen
Team before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before the
He
Omni-Man
meets Adam
thing.
Eve and the Teen Team before.
Yeah.
But like the way it fits into the show, like just I don't know, it makes sense. I
Yeah.
don't know. It just all seemed pacing wise to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but the
was
time
seamless.
aliens and stuff like that happen after the Alan thing. The Alan the alien happens before the Guardians of the Globe stuff happens, but it happens after in this. But it just makes more sense to do it that way. Also, another change that they did was in the comic books, Man is very, very excited that Mark gets his power. But in the
Oh.
TV show, they play it a little differently because
Lexi had some theories. What do you think that is from? Why do you think that is?
well, I think it has to do with him. I mean, you know why, but basically, like,
Oh yeah, I guess ultimately we know why.
yeah,
but-
it's just him having to deal with what he knows has to come next. Mark getting his powers, it's the catalyst for all that's going to come going forward, and he knows that, like, he now has to. I guess I don't want to spoil it, but like he knows what he has to do, and that's that's going up against his son, who he knows is not going to agree with him. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
so
crazy.
those two things are going to come to a head, and you can see that pain, and you can tell in J.K. Simmons acting that he's having troubles coming to terms with that. You know?
It's super interesting because he's not, he's still like, all right, let's train, let's do this, let's do something, learn how to take a
Yeah,
hit, do this. He's not like, I mean, he could destroy him right there, right then and there, easy
yeah,
if he wanted to, but he's
yeah.
not.
But he
It's a
doesn't.
super interesting dynamic. It's
Yeah,
super
you
interesting.
can see that conflict. Like he knows that in order for him to do what he wants, he's going to have to kill his son, right? Like that's ultimately what's going on in his head. Or he's going to have to at least fight him. Something needs to happen for him to
Yeah.
do what he wants to do. And
Rian
so
said in the chat that I thought it was a Freudian thing. Now he wants to kill his son or something. I don't know. I failed psychology. Is what she said. That's a good point. I think that's right. I think there's definitely a lot going on there. I think that's what
yeah.
Robert Kirkman's playing with, the father son dynamic. I don't know
Mhm.
what it's like to have a dad, but I
Wow.
imagine it's
Let's get
just like
sad
this.
let's get sad and close to the camera for a second.
I imagine I didn't have a dad, but I imagine it's just like this, right?
Yeah.
Anybody
Yeah.
who had a dad in the chat?
Anybody, if
Did your
anybody with a
dad teach
dad,
you how
let
to
us
fight
know.
so you can kill him someday?
Reach out to us at nowtrythiscast.com on all the socials and let us know what it's like to have a dad.
Yeah, let us know what it was like to have a dad. This is the no dad zone. We don't know. Teach us a lesson. That's our spin-off podcast coming your way. Life without a dad.
There's a very good series
Oh
of
no, hashtag no dad. That's the
there's a
better
very
title
good
of the podcast.
series of there's a very good YouTube channel that is a guy who grew up without a dad, and he just teaches people like things that typical dads would teach you, like around the house, how to tie a tie, how to build shit. It's kind of nice.
That's so sad. Hashtag no dad is our new podcast coming out to you in the spring.
Yep.
I would subscribe to that channel too.
But anyway, yeah. So that's what it is. He knows that he's going to have to do that, and none of that was in the comic book, right? Like he was just playing it. He was being coy. He was happy his son got powers, and he was like showing him the ropes, and very excited for him to be a part of that. Whereas in this, he knows that his son is in his way, and that he's going to have to remove that obstacle, and he's kind of having to deal with that emotionally, which is kind of nice. I like
Totally.
seeing that more. I like seeing the depth of character. They added a lot of like depth to these characters in the show.
It's weird because on a show or a movie, you feel like you have to speed up, but it also means that the moments you breathe are even more intense. So those moments when Mark has to walk away and the father, it's on the father, and he turns a smile into a frown.
Yeah.
Like I think those moments work in comics, but I think they work more in TV shows and
Yeah.
movies.
I think that they're playing up. I think that they're doing a good job, but it's a difficult task to play up the Omni-Man storyline a little bit more, because when you're sitting with him and knowing that he's a villain, you're adding little scenes where he's looking down at the Guardians of the Globe and it's like pathetic, or the new Guardians of the Globe, because eventually they have a tryout. And sometimes I don't want them to lean too much into it, because I don't think Omni-Man is a villain. Like I've read the comic books, and my takeaway is that he's not a villain. He's just is a
You might
man
be
with a task.
controversial in that, but I didn't finish it, so
Okay, that's fair.
and it's also been 10 years. So but as of right now, I'm pretty sure most people would disagree with you.
That's fair.
He crushed Red Rush's head.
He
My
did
God.
do that.
And this fucking show at the fucking funeral has the fucking French girlfriend like freaking out at the funeral. Like super smart way to like do that and bring it all back. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm. Well, it's interesting. The comic book is interesting too, because the comic book can play more with the rights of things, because the Image universe has its own superheroes and stuff, and they make appearances in the comic book. Like Savage Dragon is one of the longest running comic books at Image. It's still coming out with issues, even though a lot of people don't know who the fuck Savage Dragon is. And he makes multiple appearances in the Invincible comic book. And like Dark Hawk and like a lot of these like random superheroes. Robert Kirkman started writing another comic book called The Astonishing Wolfman, and that guy makes a couple of appearances in the comic book too. It's interesting to see like what they do with the other characters in the world.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up?
Because I think one of the coolest parts I think about why you have a teenager be a superhero, and it's why I love Spider-Man so much, is why to have moments like when Mark asks Amber out on a date and leaves her in his room for an hour so he can go to Mount Rushmore and stop a supervillain.
Yeah.
How would you handle that situation? Wouldn't you have sent her home?
I would have sent
you
her home. Why would
Wouldn't
I
you
just
fake
I
the
would be like,
tummy ache?
I have a family emergency. I gotta shit my brains out in the bathroom. Like this is a new relationship. You can just say you gotta go and you
It's not in
gotta
a
go.
relationship yet. It's the first date, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
But
No, it
but
was a lot.
just because I'm talking about that anyway, the whole Mount Rushmore. I think what this show is doing it was such a really freaking great job is balancing, and I don't think every show always does this. It balances the action with the drama so
Mhm.
well, like the angst
Yeah.
of the drama at home going on with Amber and that, juxtaposed with him and going with Adam and Eve and doing an amazing action set piece. The animation on the show, honestly, I saw the style of the show and I thought it wouldn't be that great because it
Mhm.
was like simpler lines. It was paying homage to the comic, right? The
Yeah. Yeah.
comic is I think has a very distinct image to it. It's very clean lines,
Mhm.
very simple color scheme,
Yeah.
blocky drawing. It's what is it, Ryan Oatley, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I think he's a great artist, but it's very stylized. And then the show matched it. I was like, oh, I don't know how that's going to look animated, but they did a really
It
good
looks
job of
great.
adding momentum
Yeah.
and speed and drive and kinetic
Mhm.
energy to the drawings. And I thought this moment with the Mount Rushmore is when I really noticed it.
Yeah.
Right, like it was happening earlier with. But like Omni-Man killing everyone, I was preoccupied with the killing to like really take
Yeah. For
take note
sure.
of the animation. But with this fight with the guy with the what is it, fucking Earthquake Man,
Earth
Doctor
Doctor.
Seismic,
Yeah. Doctor
Doctor
Seismic.
Seismic, Earthquake Man.
Earthquake
Uh,
Man.
I thought they did a really nice job
Yeah.
animating it. Like it really did great when he were going underneath with the lava and
Mhm.
saving people and going here, and the way
Beautiful
he used it.
animations.
We
Yeah.
used his bracelets to like go up and out and over. Like it looked really nice.
Yeah.
And also, I don't remember Adam Eve being this amazing. Was she this amazing in the comics?
Yeah, Adam Eve is she gets even better because she doesn't know what her real powers are yet in the TV show
Oh,
and in the early comic books. So later on,
sure.
she discovers what they really are, but right now she thinks it's like shooting laser beams and having force fields and stuff.
Sure,
Uh,
sure, sure. But I also just I don't know if it's because I'm watching it animated, but I remember her being a good superhero.
yeah,
But the way that the show is showing her is she's like the best.
yeah. No, no,
She's like the best
she
outside of
was
like the Guardians.
she was pretty competent. I think it was the same way in the comic books. I was rereading it, and
Mm.
yeah, it's similar.
Well, anyway, in spite of that, I love how strong Adam Eve is as a
Mhm.
character, and the whole subplot with Rex Explode. Like I remember that happening, but
Yeah.
it really hits home when it's Jason Mantzoukas and fucking
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
coming on saying, "Hey, you're fucking the Invincible guy," so like whatever, and then him trying to get her back later, be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I really made a mistake," and Adam Eve like fucking leaving,
Yeah, right.
and like
I
oh,
know. I didn't care about it. Like it happened in the comic books, and it's just like, okay, cool. Now she gets to be with Mark, but then Mark's with that
yeah,
other girl,
yeah,
and
classic
but
high school
but
drama.
it is like whatever. You don't give a shit about Rex Explode in the
Yeah, yeah,
comic book, but now,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
Jason Mantzoukas, and I love Jason Mantzoukas. So now I'm
I
like, oh
know.
no,
He's such the lovable asshole, right? That's his thing,
yeah.
and he
So now
really
you feel
breathes
for
life
him.
into him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
like
really
as he's all
does.
beaten up for Monster Girl, and as like Adam Eve, when Adam Eve flew away, and he's standing there, and he's like, "Oh man," and he's like real sad about how
Mhm.
much he fucked up. I'm like, "Why do I give a shit about you? You're an
Yeah,
asshole.
I
God damn it,
know. But that's
crazy."
another thing that the comic book and the TV show do so well is that they take certain characters that you're supposed to hate and they make them like more dynamic, right? Same thing with Omni-Man.
Yeah,
Omni-Man, he did this bad thing, but you feel for him and later on you get to understand why he did it, what his reasoning was, and maybe you don't agree with them, but you understand them. Robert Kirkman is great at writing human characters. Like they could be
yeah,
Superman, they could be whatever, but you relate to them much more than you do most other comic book characters. Like
I agree.
I don't think I've ever read Aquaman and been like, I can relate to this guy, you know?
Right.
But
But Aquarius sitting there on his throne waiting for friends. That hits
yeah,
home.
you can relate to
That
that.
hits home. I think also it's you said it earlier about a different thing, but I think it relates to this too, where comic books are in our own voice, right?
Mhm.
And we put weight where we want to put weight. But while we're watching it, Jason Mantzoukas, J.K. Simmons, Gillian Jacobs, just because that's who we're talking about now, but everyone
Yeah,
in the show adds such nice degrees of everything to like
yeah,
I didn't give a shit about the mom in the comic. Like I thought she was a good character, but I like really care about this mom and like the fact that she's gonna get hurt I'm
yeah.
like really upset about
Uh-huh.
that scene when Demon Detective showed up and talked to the mom,
Damien
and then
Darkblood.
yeah, and then didn't tell Omni Man and like
Mhm.
had that whole like little moment. Lexi turned to me and was like, "What just happened? Like, why didn't she say anything?" And I was like, "Exactly." It's like, I
Yeah,
think she knows something now, because
she
why
feels
wouldn't
it.
he tell her? Why wouldn't he tell her
Mhm.
when he got home? He tells her everything about everything.
Yeah,
Tells her about the kaiju, makes jokes about it, but that thing, he didn't say anything.
yeah.
Fucking hits home. And the whole aesthetic of the cold breath,
Oh, I
intimacy, it's
love that.
so
Yeah, yeah.
nice. It's so
Also,
fucking nice.
the same thing. Like, I feel like the TV show is really flushing every character out because they have more time. They have more time to deal with everything. They don't have
Yeah,
to rush through the whole comic book. People are watching,
yeah.
people like it, and they can take their time with certain things. So Damien Darkblood is in the comic books. I didn't think he was. I was like, I don't remember him. And then
Because
I
because
went
you read
back.
him as fast as you want to, because you don't care about him,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
You read him fast, like, hi, he's the demon detective, and you move on.
Yeah.
It's a one throwaway joke.
But he was
But in the
also
comic,
only in one
it takes
scene.
its time. Oh,
Yeah.
he's only one
He's only in
once.
one like two panels. He shows up when they die and then is like never there again because he's not the
Oh, so
reason that they find out anything.
oh.
Yeah.
Well, I like it in the show. Him just keep
Hmm.
popping up. He's like a super, and Clancy Brown is voicing him so well. He's a
Yeah.
fucking classic voice actor
Oh,
guy.
I love
But
Clancy Brown.
the whole panning over someone, he's not there, and then he is there with the cold breath.
Yeah.
Like, this show is doing such a good job. I would watch a Damien Darkblood show. I would watch just a show about how he has to solve crime so he doesn't have
Yep.
to go back to hell. I
Mhm.
would watch that whole show and devour it.
No,
It's
I
fucking
get that.
crazy.
I feel the
Yeah.
same way. It's like so many of the characters are just so well done, and even the villains. There are
Mm.
times in the comic book
Oh, I
where
fucking love
I
what the fuck's their faces. What are they called? Fucking the Muller twins.
Oh, the Mauler twins. Yeah, even in the comic books, though, like there are times where you will be like Invincible will go up against a villain, and they make good points. It happens at the Mount Rushmore scene. He's talking about how like this is a statue to like racists and like the racist history of America, and you're like, fuck, this dude's making some real good points. He might
Yeah.
he might be onto something, And
Yeah.
Invincible faces like a lot of villains like that who are just like, I'm a bad guy and I may be going about this the wrong way, but at least I'm trying to fix the world. What are you doing as a
Agreed.
superhero? You have all this power. What are you doing to help the common man? And
Yeah.
you're like, fuck. Oh my God, you're right. He's just going around punching bad guys, but he's not changing the world at all. And I like that. I like thought provoking superhero content.
What would you is it if duplicates herself and has sex with herself,
Oh yes, the hard
is
hitting
she
questions. Yes, we
is
go
she
from talking about the three-dimensional characters that are in this to being like, we duplicate. How many titties does she have?
I love the way they do her power.
No, what's
where
your question?
she's
What were
like,
you gonna say? Finish it.
is she having sex, or is she masturbating if she
Has sex with herself?
gets it on with her duplicates?
That's the age-old question.
Or did Rex Splode have a foursome, or did he have a twosome?
Interesting.
Also, would you cheat on your girlfriend to have a foursome with a fourth dimensional being?
I would not do that.
Good answer. This is recorded.
Would you, Nick? With a fourth dimensional being? Is what you said?
Is it cheating if it's with a fourth dimensional being?
No. I
No,
guess
the
you're
answer
right.
is yes. Don't
No,
let me
it's
off.
not.
Like,
No, it's not.
100%
Yeah, I
is.
get it,
would
Nick.
not.
You're
I
right.
would not.
But yeah, no, it's really, really good. And if you're listening this much and you haven't watched the show for some reason, I'm sorry that we spoiled it, but it's definitely worth watching. Any other points about the show? Anything else you want to talk about?
I really like it.
Nice.
I just really love the one of my favorite things is like the stupid moments where it's like they're fighting the time aliens,
Mhm.
and that one alien who gets the scar keeps coming back, and he's like,
Yeah.
he hates Invincible, and he just like keeps eyeing it. It's like that attention to detail is like why the comic's so cool, but also like
It
why
is.
but this show knows what it's doing. I mean, because it's Robert, he likes his
Yeah.
own stuff, but it's like it knows what's important, and those are the moments. Steve talking at the beginning of the episode is important. Fucking those little moments of that humanness, of that like realness, that like
Mhm.
character development, are what make the show special
Yeah,
in the comic.
it's funny because I feel the same way. There's one thing that he does really well. I said one thing like 1,000 times. The 1,000th thing that Robert Kirkman does really well is that he knows how to pay things off. It's one of my favorite things in storytelling, and I feel like not a lot of people know what they're doing. Right? Like you write something and you have a plan so far ahead that in the beginning you plant the seeds of that thing that you have
Yeah,
planned. Right?
totally.
And Robert Kirkman does that a lot. The time aliens, they appear in the first 3 episodes, and they're not important until like way, way, way later in the comic book,
Oh, they're important again later.
Yeah. And so
Oh, I didn't
that's
remember that.
interesting that happens now because you're like,
Hmm.
you see it happen. you see the consequences of that, and then it's not really going to come back until much later. And I like that. I think that's something that's really cool in storytelling that not a lot of people do, and a lot of people have the opportunity to do because they don't have something that's going to last years and years and years, you know.
Agreed.
I feel like, I don't know, I can't think of other content that does that, like drops little seeds that are going to pay off like in 3 years.
Besides Robert Kirkman things,
Yeah.
off the top of my head, I can't. I mean, Steven Universe does.
Oh, Steven Universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we love that just as much. That
Yeah.
definitely does. You know,
Yeah.
there's a little rock in the background here, and then you find out that it's his fucking mom, you know? Like
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Shit like that is so good, but it takes a lot of planning and it's hard to do.
Yeah, and you see it a lot in anime. That's like famously like what anime does, right? Like you start off Naruto and you just think he's got a fox inside of him, but then you find out 400 episodes later
Yeah.
that the dude was his dad and this was his mom, or
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
he got his eye from this person or whatever. 400 episodes later.
Yep.
So anime does it a lot.
Anime does. I was gonna say One Piece does that too. It'll have like a random character, and then they'll show up like 5 years later. Oh, Naruto spoilers.
I didn't say whose dad. I didn't say what.
Wow, Nick, Naruto spoilers. When was the last episode of that show?
Fucking 8 years ago.
He has a son named Boruto. Let's the Naruto spoiler podcast. That's what this is now.
I'm gonna give you the biggest Naruto spoiler right now. You ready?
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Sasuke dies.
Oh
Boom.
shit! Oh my
Sasuke
god.
dies. He's coming. Watch that
Jesus.
show. Know that Sasuke's death is looming over you. Huge spoilers.
I'll spoil Naruto for real. They fight the god of all ninjutsus. They fight the god of ninjutsu.
You know that Boruto is about them fighting the family of those gods, right?
Wait, really?
Yeah,
That's so
it's fucking
stupid.
crazy. I'm not following it. It's like really like, where do you go after you fight the god of ninjutsu?
Yeah.
You fight that god's family.
God damn it. No, Sasuke doesn't actually die. Just for those in the chat who are wondering.
Who's watched more Naruto, you or I?
That's a good thing that's an interesting point that you make. Because that's
yes, it is. I watched more Naruto and Sasuke dies.
That's a problem that Naruto has. Or not Naruto. Yeah, Naruto has, and other content that lasts a long time has, is that they have a power creep problem. Same thing that happens in like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff like that. Is that like once you create, okay, they're gonna get stronger to fight this enemy, they're gonna get stronger to fight this enemy. How do you where does it end? You know, like there has to be an end to that. You can't create power dynamic like that.
Yeah, I think My Hero Academia, I feel that a little bit sometimes, where it's like the guy's power is based off of the guy who's the strongest ever. So like we eventually know he's just gonna be that strong, but the show does it a good job because he's like still learning.
Yeah.
But I could imagine 6 years from now, if My Hero's still going on, being like everyone's just fighting gods.
I know. My Hero Academia is getting close to that because they're just like, oh, I'm using 20%, I'm using 30%, and then it's
Well,
like,
no, I mean he's only at like 8. He can use 8.
oh yeah, whatever fucking percent he's at now. I like the show, but they do have a problem, and I'm hoping that like they said they were going to end soon though, so
Yeah,
maybe
I think
they
the
won't
manga's
have that
ending
issue.
soon.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be sad.
I know, me too. But back to Invincible. Oh yeah, he says 1,000% at one point.
He did at one point. Say he used 100% and it wasn't enough, and then he like
just
broke his body to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
He
dumb.
went plus ultra, Marcus. He went plus ultra.
Plus
You just don't understand.
ultra. Oh god, I'm sorry. I don't know what the
Guys, if you want us to talk
mathematical
more about
equation
anime, let
that
us
plus
know.
ultra is. Yeah, we'll start another anime podcast.
If you want us to talk about anime, we'll start a hashtag no dad, hashtag also anime.
Okay, Nick. Any other parts of the show that you really like that stand out to you?
No.
No. Okay, that's fair.
Now off the
Yeah,
top
no.
of my head,
I
you?
feel like we talked about a lot of the good moments. It's hard because it feels like these episodes.
Oh, I like
are
Monster Girl a lot.
Packed. Monster Girl's great. These episodes are packed. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It is. It's hard to talk about all of them because there's so much content in the 45 minutes that happen. It feels like I watched 3 hours of TV show. Like, not a lot of shows
Agreed.
can fit in that much like dramatic tension, action scenes, and like also cute high school moments. It just feels like they're doing so much, and they managed to do it with perfect pacing.
Yeah, I agree. The pacing is the number one
Mhm.
all-star of the show, I think.
It's crazy because it's something too that could easily fall apart. You know, like one episode being off pace. It's like walking in on the stairs. If one stair is just a little off, you'll trip. You know, and I feel like the show's pacing is so perfect right now that it worries me that there's going to be like a bad episode in our future.
I mean, there's only 8 episodes, so they didn't try to stretch it.
That's
They
true.
could have stretched this to be 20 episodes. They could have made a whole season of show, but they only made 8 for the first season.
Do
That means
you
they know
think?
what they're doing.
Do you think we're gonna have to wait till episode 8 to get to them revealing what happened with the Guardians of the Globe?
I think so.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. It might be sooner.
I don't know. It's moving quickly
It's moving
towards
quick.
that.
I don't know. I don't know. They're definitely gonna leave episode at the end of episode 8 on some kind of cliffhanger. Which one of these it's gonna be? I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know. I really don't. And I
I'm
don't remember
excited.
the comic book in enough detail to know all the cliffhangers it could be.
Yeah. It's. I think that what they might do is reveal it early, like episode 6. It's my prediction. Reveal it episode 6, and then deal with the fallout episode 7, and then deal with
My
like a
prediction
conclusion episode 8.
My prediction is they're going to change something. So something is going to be different about the comics by the end of episode 8. So where you think it's going to go, it's actually not going to. Like something very
Oh,
distinctly different is going to happen. I mean, Robert Kirkman is working on it. Like
Yeah,
he could think is like, hey, I did this, but it made the comic die quicker. So maybe we're going to do this, and just
that's
because
true.
I want to fuck with people. Also, Robert Kirkman likes to fuck with people.
He does like to
do
fuck
that.
with people, which is
Right.
fun.
So
It's
I
funny.
wouldn't be surprised.
It's funny seeing how great Robert Kirkman works are, but I am going to shit on Robert Kirkman for 2 minutes because he made The Astonishing Wolfman, which was kind of garbage, and Outcast, which had a TV show that failed quickly because the comic book was kind of dull. So it's not perfect because no writer is perfect, but he has 2 really, really good shits that I recommend everybody check out.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you. Nick, what did you think of this
Loved
show?
it. Love the show. Lexi and I are going to keep watching it. No, that's not.
That's not.
I'm answering
No,
another
no,
question.
you ruined it.
I
You
was-
ruined
sorry,
the
sorry,
whole
sorry,
integrity of the podcast.
Sorry, say it again. Take it again. Take it again.
Okay. From the top, are you ready?
Yeah.
Did you like the show?
Love the show. It was so good, fantastic. I enjoyed every second of it.
Nice.
Perfectly
Would
paced,
you recommend
perfectly
the
acted.
show?
I think everybody should watch the show. I think the great thing about this
Oh.
show is while it's gory and gruesome sometimes, it is all for like a very specific reason. It's not, some people would still say it's gratuitous, but I think all the moments that it does it are to make a point, a very distinct point about what's happening and about humanity. So I think this should be for everybody.
It's hard because I feel like the show is superheroes, but with gore and a little bit more realistic than comic books tend to be.
Yeah, but not as
Um,
gory or filthy as The Boys, because
Yeah,
that's a
but I
harder
was gonna
pill to
say
swallow.
there's a tone behind it that it makes it feel real, whereas The Boys feels just like excessive. Like it's like
This is sincere.
yeah, The Boys acts like it's trying to pull the veil from the eyes of the sheeple everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
And it has like a douchey tone to it, like you don't know the truth, you know, I do. And Invincible
Which that
doesn't
being
do
said,
that.
I love that. I love that tone. I think it really works in that show.
Well, the
But
show, I'm
I-
talking about the comic book, but yeah.
Oh, the Boys comic is trash.
Yeah.
I
But the
was talking
show
about
does a better
the show.
job of like it doesn't take that tone with you. That's why I think the show works.
But
and
the
comic
show,
book doesn't.
everything comes from especially because Mark is the lead of it and he's incredibly sincere. It comes from a
Mhm.
place of sincerity. It really
Yeah.
means everything it's trying
Yeah.
to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this show definitely like means everything. It doesn't make the audience feel stupid, and it's honestly for everybody. Like
Yeah.
if you like TV shows, if you've ever watched any superhero movie, you're gonna like this.
Agreed.
Unless you left with a 1-star review, like earlier. Those guys,
Sure,
who knows? Would you recommend this show? No.
I
Are
would
you gonna keep
recommend-
watching
no.
the show?
I'm gonna keep watching the show.
Nice.
I'll
Nice,
probably
nice,
watch the
nice.
4th episode this weekend. I'm super excited to see what happens. I'm excited to get all the way to episode 8, find out what happens with fucking Rexplode and Duplicate, see how long that relationship's gonna last.
Uh-huh.
Very excited.
I'm gonna spoil it and say it probably is not gonna last very long
Oh,
for
You
like
don't know.
5 reasons.
you don't know.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I do know.
Oh, because it happens in the 4th episode.
It's probably gonna happen in the next couple episodes, but we'll see.
They could change it.
They could change it. Who knows?
Jason Mantzoukas is powerhouse. Maybe they're like, you know what? Let's spin this off into a Rexplode TV show.
There's something that's gonna happen in the comic books, and I don't know how they're gonna handle it, or it's gonna happen in the animated series, and I don't know how they handle it like from a voice actor perspective, but I'm interested to see.
Dash 942 is like, oh my god, is one of them gonna die? That's what Marcus is like inferencing, but I don't remember who dies, and it's kind of pissing me off. Like, who's fucking gonna die? Oh fuck, I'm invested.
Or I'm referencing the fact that they're both kind of assholes, and that's doomed, a doomed relationship. But
No,
who
I
knows?
think they're all gonna die. Someone's gonna die.
Who
Prepare
knows?
yourselves.
Okay,
Marcus,
Nick, It's your
That's the
turn.
show.
That's a show, but Nick, it's your turn to give me a challenge. We still have time. Yes, we still have time, guys. If you want to,
We still-
what I'm talking about is that we have a Patreon. I don't know if you guys know this, but we have a Patreon, and if you become a $5 tier patron, you can leave us suggestions on what we're gonna do, and there's gonna be a poll going up soon. So the deadline for leaving suggestions is almost here. So head over there and join the Patreon. Sorry.
And we do that at the first Thursday of every month. But next week,
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing is my challenge. And Marcus,
Okay.
I've been humming and hoeing about what to give you, and there's a lot of things I could.
Did you
give
say
you.
humming and hoeing?
Yeah.
That's
Isn't
very
that the expression?
sexual.
Isn't that the expression?
Hemming and hawing?
I like mine better.
I like humming and hoeing. That's pretty good. I've been humming and hoeing all day long.
I've been humming and hoeing all day long about what to give you. And I think this is what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you the critically acclaimed movie One Night in Miami.
Oh, okay.
We haven't done anything serious for a little while.
That's true.
I saw this movie and I was floored by the topic and the acting and the writing and the directing. It's Regina King's first movie, and I really want to talk about it with someone.
Okay.
The only person I've talked to about it was with Lexi's mother, and she was not impressed. So
with the movie or with your conversation topics?
Irrelevant. So next week we will be doing One Night in Miami. You can watch everybody. Apparently we're an Amazon show now. Everyone, you can watch it on Amazon Prime. Check it
Amazon
out.
Prime, sponsor us.
And that's what we're going to be doing next week. Follow us at everything at Now Try This Cast. You can find all our links at nowtrythiscast.com every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/nowtrythiscast, patreon.com/nowtrythiscast to join the community, to join the conversation, and to decide what we try every month.
Nice. Beautiful. Perfect. Guys, go fucking do those things. Thank you for joining us so much. The chat was lively.
Yes,
you guys sitting at home are fantastic, beautiful people. Now go out there and try some things. Try humming and hoeing. That's my suggestion, guys. Good night.
Friends get together so they can try things. Untitled podcast so that you can try things. And we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
There you go. Now
Look at that. It's like a little metal one, like holding like a pumpkin. Isn't it fucking cute?
I like that a lot.
It's so nice. And it's it reminds me of that cartoon, that old cartoon from the 30s, you know what I'm talking about? I love to sing about the moon and the June and the spring.
Oh
I love to
yeah.
sing about a sky that's blue or
Okay,
you
it's
didn't know what I was
posted
talking
there.
about actually.
I
It's
like to sing
posted.
about the moon and the sun and the spring.
Springer.
Okay.
I like to sing.
Okay,
Ooh,
start
so pretty.
recording.